And that's just not making people just feel welcome, but knowing that they're welcome into an organization that really includes them for their uniqueness. And that's kind of centered around what our mission statement is all about, really valuing people not only for their differences, but also for their uniquenesses that they bring to the table. And so for a period of time, it was, we fumbled a little trying to get ourselves established. And then we just started to think about the things that were important and how we as a group could make a change. And then we started to work on building that culture and finding a way to get the message out. And so today we are successfully the second place winners. And so I'm excited to say that I think we've done a pretty good job in a short period of time.
You really have. You have really magnified, the work that you do and really the company to aspire to. A lot of companies look at y'all and they say, wow, look at all they're doing. And we could do that too, right? We can do this project, we do that project. And we're going to talk about those projects in a minute. And Chris, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's such a powerful group to have such a small number. So again, I'm really impressed with that. How about you, Wendy? And I still also remember that date when y'all reached out to me and said, hey, would you, like to do a video and work with us? And I know that was a passion for Dan. And
Yes.
now Deanne has really taken it to another level. So let's talk about, Wendy, when your council was started and some of the
Uh,
mission.
Okay, well, we all started similar. During the pandemic is when Dan Forsman actually put the initiative forward for us to have a strong DEI council here in Georgia. And that we had about 25 members that year. In the last 2 years, we have grown our membership to approximately 60 members. And who we have included is, of course, our president and CEO. We have members of Deanne's executive team. We have loyal brokers and also our alliance partners. But the biggest, most impressive part of our membership, in my opinion, is our ambassadors. Here in Georgia, we have 26 offices throughout the state of Georgia. And so what we did was we asked for ambassadors, leaders in each of our offices to be a part of our DEI team. And what that has done is helped us grow our committee and helped grow commitment. Our mission always is to have a positive workplace for our employees and also for our sales agents. And so working collectively with our brokers and our ambassadors has really leaned into how we've been able to grow and to achieve our mission.
Oh my God, I love that. I love the fact that you have, because that buys into everyone. And that's
Mhm.
what's about inclusivity, right? That's what we're all about. Each office knows how you are able to work and why it's important for us to, share our initiatives. One of the things that each of you have done so beautifully is that, you really have led your council so beautifully. So, what's the inspiration and motivation behind your personal involvement in the DEI Council and your leadership role and, the things that you decided, hey, in 2023, we're going to spearhead these items. But not only did you spearhead it, but you actually just created such magic. So I want to start with you, Chris. Tell me about what's your motivation?
So mine kind of stems back to my past experience. So in all of the leadership roles I had, I used to walk into the room and there was only one of me. And so for the longest time, it was a matter of how can I make change if I'm a part of an organization? Because I know there are many more people who look like me or look different than myself that could make a change at the table. So when Martha and Mary Lee kind of asked me to be a part of this, I really wanted to make sure it wasn't just a check the box, that there was an opportunity for us to have a passion about what we were doing, be committed to what we were doing, and find ways to make changes. And so that's how we have kind of embraced the whole focus of diversity, is looking at those opportunities or those events or those initiatives where we are making a change, not only for our organization, but for those communities that we're a part of. And so we're in 4 different regions from the border of Mexico all the way up through Santa Barbara. And so in the development of our Impact Council, we wanted to make sure that we had a presence in each one of our regions. And so for me, it was having people a part of the council who wanted to be there and who had a passion about not only making a change, but understanding how and what that change looked like, and making sure that the initiatives that we were focused on were really going to drive some kind of change. And I know you will get into some of those in later on, but really fostering an environment where people wanted to and understood what it meant to be a diverse organization. And we've got a long way to go. I'll say that. And in any organization, we have a long way to go. But at least getting that out there was my passion. And so I've been the co-chair since the inception. And, I will continue to be an important part of the organization in driving those changes and looking for those initiatives that not only position us in our community, but position us in our organization so people can see how we make a difference.
Oh, I can see the passion and I can see the love that you have. And certainly I totally get the being the only one in the room, right? Wendy, how about you?
When we talk about, I guess, inspiration and personal motivation, as a woman of color, it is a passion to make sure that we are all included, that people see women in leadership. And that leads me to, the next thing is I am a woman who leads. I have the opportunity to lead agents and help them grow their business, give them the confidence to take their business to the next level. And also in this DEI space, it also gives me that same opportunity to lead and to show others. And, to Chris's point, people may not have the confidence to step out, to lead, to go to the next level, to grow, to learn, because they feel like they're the only one in the room. And on this platform, it is my pleasure to lead all of our agents, in that diversity space of making everyone feel included, no matter what your differences are. And so to be in front of our agents every month is my inspiration, to share with them the opportunity to be a part of Berkshire Hathaway and to show them that we are an all-inclusive company. To make everyone feel comfortable is just really my personal goal.
Oh gosh, that's great and so beautiful. And of course, now with Deanne Golden at the helm, women, just really empowering other women, I think is amazing.
Yes.
And the fact that you have done such great work, taking it to the next level, because Rashida McLean, we have to give her shout out as well. Was the first leader in your group and took
Yes.
it to a level, and you've done such a great job and really focusing on all the companies and making sure that everyone feels included. Jamar, there's no doubt, I know you are a born leader because you have, the fact that you approached, Greg and said, let's do this. That's what you did with me, right? So tell me what inspires you to continue on this work and what's your takeaway with what you've done in the D&I space?
I think for me, it's really getting honest about my life's journey, how I grew up, how I was raised, the spaces that I was in. And actually, it's really being, feeling comfortable, being uncomfortable in those spaces, right? If that makes any sense, right? Standing out. Because I think in all of our work, and I can echo a lot of things that Chris and Wendy said, representation really matters, right? So when you get in these spaces, how do you impact them? How do you leave your legacy behind for others to follow? And I think for me, what fuels me is making sure that I'm a perspective for our community in a leadership form, so they can see it, right? Seeing is believing. I think creating inclusive spaces, this should just be something we're all used to right now, but unfortunately, we have to work really hard for people that aren't used to it to get used to having different points of view. And I know we focus here, as I see all these beautiful faces of color on this chat, right? But that's just one dimension of diversity. What about those hidden dimensions as well of diversity? That's where I really champion those spaces, because I think it's very easy to say, we see why Jamar's leading this initiative for Edina Realty, being a leader of color. And by the way, I think I'm one of the first leaders at my level of color. And I'm happy to say that we all know Jackie Berry very well. She just was announced yesterday as one of our brokers at our downtown office. So, once you get that foot in the door, how do you open it up for others? And that's really what my mission really is about. And it fostered at every office level as well, that awareness of representation, but just creating more inclusive spaces and really doing small things like, do you got closed captioning on when you're doing your meetings? Are you looking at people that maybe can hide in plain sight? So that's a thing too. And I'm in a predominantly white community, but within those communities, there's people of color, right? So I just want to make sure that we are serving all instead of, because again, if you're from here, people know when you say Edina, the stigma behind that. It's kind of an elite community, right? It's a community that has a lot of redlining issues, which I know we'll get to in a little bit as well. How do we as an organization say we're an organization for all, right? So really that's kind of my mission behind it. And I will say it really starts with, my advocacy work at the association level and what the association has done for my career. That's why I stand here as president now. A lot of my training came within those spaces, those very inclusive spaces. So all of our organizations need to lean into what our mission is as realtors, right? Within this organization, a realtor community, how to create more opportunities for everyone. And I'm just proud that, again, I'm with an organization that's forward thinking. I'm with an organization in Minnesota that would be considered diverse because the owner of their organization, the founder, Emma Grovic, was the first female broker owner in our area that really grew it to what it is right now, being the largest in the Minnesota and Western Wisconsin footprint. So how can I not step up and lead with all these great people in our organization, but also just do it as a perspective for our community?
Oh, absolutely beautiful. And one of the things that I have to say, Jamar, is that you are so thought-provoking. You think the strategies that you come up with. And when I got into this role, you and Greg said, "Hey, Teresa, we would like to see," because I know there's diversity councils that meet, independently. Let's get together once a month or quarterly, whatever, to exchange ideas. And so I have to give you and Greg kudos because I had thought about doing it after the Belonging Council, but I thought, oh, is that too much? Are people going to have the time? And I absolutely love our meetings. They're called diversity meets. We meet once a month and we bring in speakers. But tell me, what's your one takeaway? What do you get out of it that you feel like it's such a huge thing for others to also be able to get involved with? Because we want to influence others and impact and realize how important this diversity meets community is. Wendy, I'll start with you.
One of the things that I get out of our monthly meetings, it's honestly a sense of comfort. The time that you take to bring initiatives to all of us across the network each month is very powerful. And when I'm on those calls, and a lot of our other associates are on also, the takeaway, your involvement in every community, showing us the heritage months, showing us the opportunities we have to participate in conferences across the network that are all diverse. And the difference is Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices is represented at each one. That's a powerful statement. Also, too, you really encourage us to push the envelope, to push in our offices. I get that encouragement every month of how can we get this information in front of our brokers? How can we get it in front of our associates? And so we take that information each month and we share it, like I said, with our ambassadors. Our president and CEO, Deanne Golden, and I, we, discuss initiatives that you share with us. So, it definitely keeps us motivated and it keeps us moving forward. And I think it definitely makes us stronger.
Oh, thank you. Gosh, that makes me feel so good. But it's really all of you who inspire me because we bring in each of you are highlighted every single month. And I love that. Chris, how about you?
So I just have to echo what Wendy said, but bottom line is, Teresa, what you've done here with that space is allowing us the opportunity for continuous education. some of the topics that you bring up, some of the things that you introduce, although we are aware of it, the way that it is presented and the sharings that are given allows us the opportunity, as Jamal kind of said earlier, taking us out of our comfort zone and putting us into a zone of learning and understanding. The other thing that I think as a council, I think we get from that is just a sense of belonging, to have a company that brings together all of the councils in a way that it is a safe space to share and to talk about things, makes it really feel good about being a part of this organization and being a part of something much bigger than just our single companies. And so that's a huge value. And then I'll just, wrap up by saying it's an opportunity to steal shamelessly. I mean, there's some phenomenal ideas, initiatives, and things that are happening in Georgia with Jamal and his company. And it allows us an opportunity to not to have to recreate the wheel, but take the learnings and knowledge and information that is shared and finding a way to implement it in our organization, but having that resource of the individual who's already doing it, being able to reach out to them and not have to start from ground zero. That's within itself is the opportunity that will help us grow all of our impact councils and eventually and ultimately grow our company.
Oh, so true. And, Tom Ferry always talks about it's sharing, right? It's, we're ripping off, duplicating and repeating, because it really, with all that, it really kind of helps us grow, like you said, Chris. And Jamar, I'll finish up with you.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can echo everything that Chris and Wendy said as well. But the thing that kind of stands out to me is just the connecting. I think, when you lead initiatives like this at any level, it's lonely, to try to figure it out on your own, to try to figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. I think having the space monthly to connect and collaborate. And so again, Teresa, you do a masterful job of just highlighting what everybody's doing. So you're connected at every level, but it's just nice to kind of have that support, right? As you do this work, because, I feel like a lot of times the obvious choice to lead these initiatives are people of color, and sometimes, or at least I would say in the past, what they would do is give you your counsel, give you your budget, and just say, good luck. They weren't making a meaningful effort to really connect and saying, how can we share and collaborate so we move together forward, right? Moving forward, stronger together, everything that we have going on with our initiatives. I just think it's great that we are doing it on a monthly cadence. And I know all of us, meet with our councils monthly as well to be able to go into those meetings prepared and even say, listen, we're doing something here that's being duplicated somewhere else. Or it's worked in this area, let's bring it in here. It's so invaluable. And that's just the support of our culture here. And I just appreciate, again, Teresa, you being open, right, to doing this and connecting all of us because it's so powerful.
Well, you were the catalyst. I'm going to tell you that. So, Jamar, thank you so much in that area because it certainly, to me, I love just talking to all of you and seeing what you're all doing and bringing in speakers that really empower all of us and are able to really help us in our initiatives and in our growth strategies. All right, so let's talk about money. And we've got 5 minutes before we get started on each of you because I want to hear about your winning initiatives so that everyone else can see what you did this year to bring you to those spots. Budgets. So, Wendy, let's talk first you, Jamar, and then Chris, because you kind of use, sometimes people don't have dollars. That's a lot of times the excuse that they'll give you, that, oh, we just don't have the money. So what does it, typically run to do your initiatives and how are you able to do such great work? How many dollars have you had to invest in it? And knowing that this is tight in 2024, how will you move forward with what you're doing and making it better? So I'll start with you, Jamar.
Yeah, I mean, there is a budget. Obviously we would like to see it bigger and better, but I think for us, at Edina, we have the privilege of having HomeServices of America in our building. We have the privilege to go over to somebody like Dana and say, hey, what's going on with HomeServices Foundation? We like to bring our foundation in when we do events. So when we do events, it really is a cultural event, like our food truck event. And we look for those sponsors. We look for those title sponsors, and how can we make a bigger impact with our own organization or community to really put off these very, very large events. But then we're really humble in our approach at what we do, right? It's not something where I feel like some councils come up with budgets and they don't know what they're for. It's really being thoughtful of, is this an impact event that we're doing? Do we want it to carry forward? Okay, let's earmark money to make sure we always have this. And then what other title events or signature event do we want to do featured from our DIT? But really, it is the collaboration with our foundation, because we think we really goes hand in hand, and really reaching out to some of our associations and saying, hey, do you want to be a part of our event? Do you have a budget to be a title sponsor? Just so our community can thrive off of us taking it to the next level. And then being strategic about where we do our events at. Sometimes doing them out in the park makes more sense than going to a hotel conference room. Sometimes using our spaces and broadcasting events saves us a little bit of money, or making sure that we have representation at our title events that our companies do, like our expo. Last week, we had an awesome DIT booth. We were able to highlight all of our initiatives and our third place finish as well, and engage our members that way. But it's really just collaborating with people within our community to really make impactful events for our organization and our community.
I love that you bring in your partners, because they also are able to help fund some of those programs and also reap the benefits. Chris, I know you have a similar story too.
Yes. So we don't have a budget, and we didn't have one when we started. But as we have done things, we've tracked our expenses of how we have been able to accomplish things. But very similar to Jamar, we utilize resources and volunteers in everything we do. Our agents, our charitable foundation, partnering with them. We've partnered with other real estate organizations like ARIA and NAREB to put on things. And I know you'll probably bring this up later, our first time home buyers fair and what we did there. But in using those resources, we tap into resources that they have. Like Jamar said, you don't always have to go to a big hotel conference space. You can find smaller spaces within the neighborhoods and communities where you want to do things. Churches, for example, that's one of the things that we're going to look at in 2024. Are there churches that have meeting spaces or even their sanctuaries where we can put on events that will benefit the communities? We partner with our affiliate services like PHM for sponsorship as well. But a large portion of what we do comes from volunteering. One of the things that I will say about our organization is it is a kind, loving, and giving organization. And that's from the agents to the employees to our affiliate services. When we ask, they step up. Our backpack drive, everything was given to us by volunteers. That includes money as well as the resources. And so doing it that way allows you and affords you the opportunity of involvement and inclusion, and finding ways to make things happen without having a dollar to spend in most cases. And so that's where our budget comes from. And as I said earlier, we're tracking it so we can see what our spend is, so that we can know how to go after those resources in future events.
Oh, beautiful. So zero budgets, worked with your foundations, the foundation that you have, to help offset any costs that you might have, and then bring in partners in to help you. So I'm so impressed with that. Wendy, how about Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Georgia Properties?
This is almost the same. I'll echo what Chris and Jamar have shared. We do not have a budget, but we do track our expenses. Luckily, our greatest contributor to these efforts have been our agents, our associates, and that is them volunteering their time. That is them coming with us and saying, hey, we would like to know how to be more inclusive in diverse communities. And so, that doesn't cost anything for us to come together and do those initiatives. Quarterly initiatives we had this past year, we really focused on doing servicing the communities that were either homeless or in need of food. whether they were seniors or, single mothers. And so we came together collectively each quarter. But also, too, the great thing about our company and our associates is sometimes our agents would have initiatives just within their office, within their regions. We have offices up to the North Georgia mountains down to, Fayetteville and McDonough, Georgia. And they would take it upon themselves to do inter-office initiatives. And we did not have to rely on any budget. And another strong supporter of ours also is, I would like to say thank you to all of our alliance partners. We have members on our DEI council from all of our alliance partners. And so whenever we reach out and need something, they are there to support us and our agents. They are a great supporter and where we really leaned into our alliance partners is having them come into our sessions each month.
Because that's the way you can expose what
Mhm.
opportunities they bring to the table that can help grow your D&I initiatives, which includes homeownership opportunities, Wendy, and you've done it beautifully, I have to say. I want to transition into the awards now. So let's, and thank you for sharing. And I love that. And I like the idea too, Wendy, of each office, because sometimes they, if you're spanning a large space like y'all do in the state, you want each office to feel that they can also contribute in their community. And that's really what helps the overall picture. So I love that. So let's talk. And right now on the screen, everyone should be able to see that you all have done incredible work. So I'm going to share, first of all, I do want to let people know there was a criteria that we went through in deciding how our diversity champions would be selected. And it took a lot of time, and it was so difficult because everyone did such amazing work. And I do want to give kudos out and congratulate the DEI councils. Each one of them had such amazing things that they did. And again, shout out to all of them because they're amazing. And so I don't want to just say, hey, it's all of us together that really make the difference. But Jamar, being that you came in, your company came in third place, there were things that I really fell in love with. And first of all, the city, the logo y'all do is amazing. And I know we've talked about that already, but in a past episodes, but I want to talk about your food truck event. These are photos from that. I thought that was something that's so unique and so beautiful. Your Twin Cities Film Festival, the Shame of Chicago project that you brought in on the films that really were significant. The Just Deeds program, which we, again, if you watch Diversity Matters, you have seen that. And then also the ITIN program that I wasn't even aware of that Prosperity Home Mortgage has that you worked with, which also helps a lot of home buyers. So again, let's talk about those real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just start with the importance of having our council meeting and just really trying to figure out how we can make impact, not only in our organization, but communities. Everything you highlight there started with a smaller group conversation. And then really, getting, as you saw in one of the pictures, Greg and Sherry, who are part of our council as well, and in those monthly meetings, really to get them to say, okay, I think we can pull this off. I think this is good for our organization to kind of move it forward. I think it's an authentic way to connect with communities. So we really have these conversations about how can we connect with people, but also how can we get out in the community so people can see that we care, right? So that's where the food truck really comes in. We always know that breaking bread, starting with that conversation at a table when you're eating, really is a great way to connect. That's where we all love to eat, right? So it's where we can be honest with each other. So how can we bring in, diverse vendors that we can support within our communities with those food trucks, but also highlight, our affinity groups that we have local chapters here in Minnesota, and just really make it a fun thing that our agents and employees can look forward to every year. Twin Cities Film Festival is really a shout out to HomeServices and you, Teresa, and really exposing us to that Shame of Chicago film, and then having the opportunity to work on a partnership with the Twin Cities Film Festival and curating our own night, but being able to highlight that awesome film. Shout out to NAR for also helping support getting that documentary number 5 done as well. Again, if it wasn't for our support, it really helped me frame a conversation at NAR and their fair housing about why they should get behind that big film. And then Just Deeds is really taking something that our university's library system started with, mapping the racially restrictive covenants within our area, specifically our county, Hennepin and Ramsey, and then really having that action item behind that so people can hear their voice being heard and disavow that language. Even though the language isn't enforceable as of 2019, they can still disavow it and know the history of the land that they live on. Again, impactful with the work we do in real estate. And that's really actually helping some policy change that we're seeing coming down the line in our areas too, to be a part of that. And then the ITIN, I'm like you, I didn't really know it was a thing either until, you know, one of our awesome leaders, Edina, who you know very well, said, "What are we going to do about the ITIN?" She kept beating that horn at our meetings. And then we reached out to Prosperity and realized we had a product that we can bring to our organization and help people understand that this ITIN is important, because everybody shops a little bit differently, right? We're working on right now on how to really get around Sharia financing. That's going to be something else that we're going to be working on, because we do have the largest Somali population outside of Somalia here in Minnesota, which a lot of people don't know. So how do we support that growing community who's been here for about 25 years now too? But again, it all starts with our monthly meetings and just really our leaders and our ambassadors caring about what matters to our community.
Well, I mean, Yarida, shout out to her, because you cannot ignore her. And so
Right.
learning and wondering and this wonderful program, again, that I'm going to bring in and speak about at our Diversity Meets meeting is really insightful. So again, kudos to all the great work that y'all have done, Jamar. Amazing. As we move on, we're going to talk to Chris now, who represents Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices California properties and the Impact Council. And you know, I loved your communication pieces that you created, the collateral, the magazine that you kind of incorporate DEI information that disseminates to all of your audiences. The fact that you also have, you know, when we bring in a home services request of you getting that sent out to all of your audiences, you do it so beautifully. And, you know, I love that you did the co-vocabulary, your pieces that you do every single month. But one of my favorites was your testimonials from people that actually have changed their maybe attitude about D&I or the experiences they've had. I love that, because that's true, actual, you know, feedback, right, that you're receiving. And then just quickly, your home buyer affairs too, because I see the people that are there. You've got your you know, you've got the Department of HUD, you've got the mayor, everyone participating in that huge event. And also, you know, making sure that the community, the art, you know, all of these were just what I was so impressed with. And so was, you know, our team that helped you, that helped judge that second place position. So Chris, just tell us a little bit about who creates these and how do you gather the details that, and how's that information again sent out and, you know, disseminated, and then again, talk about the home ownership events.
Okay. Yeah, I get excited when I talk about these, because it's really what has really given us the foundation of what we're doing, and that's around communication. So the newsletter magazine that we do is an electronic employee newsletter that started in 2022. And really it started as a way, we were coming back from COVID, wanting to try to connect employees and understand, you know, how people feeling a little bit more about people. And so I have to give kudos to Ashley Thomas, who's Martha Mosier's executive assistant, and Christina Collignon, who's in our marketing department, director of marketing. So we came up with this idea, and what they decided to do was to work with each one of our regions to make sure that in every one of our electronic newsletters that there was a representation from our entire footprint. And so it gave us an opportunity to not only share information about the community or the area where our offices were, but also about our employees. And so it became this spotlighting on employees and spotlighting on understanding more about the skills and the background of our employees, which we found a way to start connecting. And then we also use that newsletter as a platform for a regular communication about DE&I and the Impact Council, what we were doing, what we were about, information that we wanted to focus on and get out to employees so that they felt connected as to what we were doing and the main reason and the impact of what we were doing. So the bulletin has become something that is done every two months. And we also have them printed out and put in the offices for individuals to take a look at. But then I'll switch over to Teresa. I think you were talking about the communication pieces that we do as it relates to holidays and events and messaging. So I can't take all the credit, but usually they do start with me with the follow-up review from Martha Mosier and then members of the Impact Council. But when I start these, I really do a little research. I kind of take and look at the importance and the significance of the event or holiday or the message that we're going to be sending out. And I make a deliberate effort to have a focus on the information being educational, but also kind of opening up the minds to be more of a broad spectrum about diversity, history, culture, and then trying to identify what's going to be the impact of the message that we're writing. So I try to make the messaging intentional, learning, educational, thought-provoking, and then also giving insight and different perspectives of experiences. And that was one of the reasons why we did the testimonials in our presentation, is we wanted people to talk about their experience and not try to represent what we thought people were getting from being a part or participating in the Impact Council. So that's how those communications are formed. And it doesn't happen like overnight. It takes some time because I really want the messaging and the messaging that we deliver as a council to really come across and touch the reader in a way that they want to find out more. And so that's how I go about writing those. And now I switch over to the first time homebuyers fair. So as I said, that was done with true partnership with a lot of individuals. I partnered with a representative, Darren Houston. I have to give him kudos for his support. He had a lot of the resources that we wanted to connect with. And as I said, we didn't have a budget, but we did get we fronted the money from the company, and then the banks that were involved, I had to go to the banks to kind of pay the company back. And so the banks ended up underwriting the entire event, the space that we had, all of the food, all of the resources and individuals who came. They all paid and underwrote the event. It was a very, very successful event. What was great about it was we had the U.S. representative come and speak. We also had the mayor speak about his home programs. So the mayor kicked it off. And I have to give kudos to our president, Martha Mosier, who had a very visible role in making sure that this was a success. And so we do things kind of in an intentional way to ensure that there is going to be some kind of impact. We've had opportunities to partner with ARIA. We have a group here in our Irvine area that are very strong participants in ARIA. Julie Tran and Peter are members of ARIA and past presidents, and we've partnered with them on their first-time homebuyer fairs, and it's an opportunity for us to get our messaging and our communication out about who we are as a council and what our mission is about and why we do what we do. So everything that we do, Teresa, it has a purpose and an intention, and we try to roll it out and communicate it in that way. And our social media is really taking ground because now we have content that we can really deliver and be a part of our social media and gain more attention from a media perspective as well.
Oh, just amazing. Blew me away. And I just want to thank you because, and Julie and Peter and Martha and all of the group that do such great work that are part of the initiatives that you all deliver. Again, first place, Wendy at BHHS Georgia. You are unbelievable because the fact that you incorporated the pillars that we do, that we talk about every single meeting, that DEI, what we stand for, that really really played a significant role in the work. And I'm going to share the video in a minute, but what has that meant to your organization? And let me just share also, and the other thing is that you pulled all your initiatives together across the organization. So it wasn't just, you realize that the impact that the tapestry of the fabric that you all create is not just your D&I council, it's through your cares committee, it's through the work that you do in each office, it's through the advertising and the marketing collateral. Everything got kind of pulled together where you can see the impact of the work that you're doing. Again, I'm going to share that in a minute, but I love even the creativity of Don, who helped us with our first place champion. For this. You can just see, right, his work and what he does, and even the meticulous way that he helps us get your message out. So again, kudos to Don Freewalk, because I know that he did some great initiatives in helping you put all of the work together into one. So while you talk a little bit, I'm going to share your presentation as well.
Hey. Well, first, thank you. Everybody's presentation and hard work has really been amazing. When we came together to put together our presentation for HomeServices, we really just sat down and looked at what we had achieved collectively, and we really leaned into opportunities that our agents wanted. They wanted to be recognized. They wanted to be involved in the community. They wanted our marketing to be more diverse. They wanted to see opportunities for, like Jamar said, diversity that may be hidden. So those are some of the things that we tried to champion along with your pillars this year. And that led us into just really growing our network. You can see we have offices throughout Georgia, and our goal, our number one goal, was to make sure we all were included. As our president and CEO, Deanne Golden, always says, everything speaks. And so that actually went into a lot of how we prepared this presentation for you. We wanted to share from the top with
The amount of valuable. The seventh, such great pride in that. We now have a global.
Every initiative that we have, she does champion and support it. And so that's kind of where we started. It starts with her, and then we filter it out to our agents. And what the results were just really growing every opportunity in every office. We really did lean in and try to be intentional. Also, when we were using our alliance partners, we wanted to give our agents a different thought process of how can you service these different communities. We have people in our northern regions that are interested in serving people in our southern region, or first-time buyers, or seniors. Our company, I'm super proud to be a part of this company because the diverse is throughout all of our offices. And so you can see it in our reports, the things that we did, encouraging our agents to do first-time buyer programs, down payment assistance programs here in Georgia. All of those things, we had everyone on those calls because those are things really our agents wanted to hear. That impressed us a lot was bringing in Freddie Mac. Freddie Mac really taught us how we could break down different diverse cultures throughout the state of Georgia and lean into those communities to help our agents better serve those communities. So that's collectively what we did this year. We leaned into, of course, volunteering and community service, but we really leaned into how we could help our associates become more diverse agents also, because that's where we are. And that is the beauty of being a part of this company.
And Wendy, I'm just going to run through so people can see it, not touch it all, but just quickly some of the award-winning initiatives that I thought were, that I thought were so
Good morning, team.
amazing.
I'm Gino Blafari, CEO
y'all
of
did,
HomeServices of America.
And again,
today, on behalf,
we had so much going on. So let me go back. Bear with me here while I see if I can do this where it'll show it. And if not, you can find the presentation online. But I will tell you the biggest thing that y'all did, you did not just it wasn't, it's the pillars. It was also the fact that you had, programs for veterans, for aging in place, for, you created, your alignment and participation with a university and created a mentorship program where you had 3 interns come in. And from what I learned from Deanne Golden, who is the CEO, you had them translate your documents into their languages that are really very dominant in your marketplace. So using their talents to help you create another program that would help, others see the impact and help in homeownership was something else that I thought was very thought-provoking and well done. You also had such incredible force with all of your programs and all the agents' involvement. In addition to that, I love that you also created all the your website, your Facebook page. Each office has a banner that talks about D&I. You have it on TV, on the monitors. So people are constantly aware there's a council that they can join that provides them the inclusivity that we all seek for. So again, kudos, phenomenal work. And I know that your councils have to be so proud of the work that you all have done. So tell me, how has been recognized as, diversity champions impacted your councils? And I'll start with you, Jamar.
Honestly, it's just being able to be a part of this great organization and knowing that we're not out here doing it alone. I think that's the biggest impact of being a champion. I know you're just featuring the 3 and you highlighted some of the others, but just knowing that we're a part of a larger community that's out here doing this, I think that's been the biggest impact for us. We always believe here, we just want to move things forward. So knowing that we have a community that like-minded people understanding how important this mission is, I think that's the impact, again, Teresa, you've made, right, to us, and creating this award just shows us that it matters, right? This really does, diversity matters. It really does matter, right? So I just appreciate, again, all that you do, and we're just so happy and honored to be able to be a part of this bigger mission.
Oh, thank you, Jamar. And again, kudos. Chris, how about your group? I know you guys, are so pumped up.
Well,
Competitive nature too of each
I
of
think
you.
Jamar said it best, it's just, gives us that platform that we need and the space that we need to know that we're doing the right things. But I'm just going to say, I know for our council, it really lit a fire in us because we want to be number 1 and we weren't. So we'll take number 2, but Wendy, we're coming for you. But also it's also given us, Teresa, what you've done with Diversity Matters as well as with, our monthly diversity meetings is really giving us, as Jamar said, an opportunity to open our eyes to so many things that we can do. There's so many great things that are happening in Georgia and in all of the areas that have diversity councils, and being able to learn from them and have opportunities to take those things that they're doing and use those or find ways to incorporate them into what we want to do and how we've done it and not have to recreate it from the beginning. This award really kind of sets that standard that there's so much more that we need to do, we can do, and we have to work towards. So we're just excited about what 2024 is going to bring.
Oh, and I know, Wendy, I was with y'all on MLK Junior Day when we were volunteering, and I know your councils were so proud. So is that how do they feel again? Excitement and how's that made an impact in your group?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not just our council, it's the entire company. All of our agents across the network, all of our executives, all of our brokers, our marketing team. We are just super excited down here in Georgia. We have taken the opportunity to share all of your beautiful words of encouragement, Teresa, and turned them into marketing pieces, showcasing that we were the award winners this year. And we did set the standard for excellence across the network. And it feels really good that we were just able to support, give back, and grow. So we are on top of the world. We've gotten Other home services companies across the network have reached out to congratulate us. We have had other members in our offices that want to join our committee. So all across the board, it feels great. But it feels great that we did the work and that our agents, our associates are super happy, but we're having a great time here in Georgia.
Oh, and I want to give kudos to all of you and your leaders. I know that is the number one biggest thing that you all have. You know, Jamar, you've got, Greg Mason, Sherry Smith, their support, Martha Mosier, her support, Deanne Golden, Kathy Connolly, Todd Tucker, Janet Mald. I mean, the support, Diana Nolan, all of the support that you get from the leaders there, I know has been crucial to the success of your company. So I want to make sure I just mention that. And last thing, because we're running out of time, I cannot believe our hour is almost up. I always like to end with something fun to hear about each of you. And so, Wendy, I'm going to start with you, Jamar second. And because you piqued my interest, Chris, I'm going to wait for you last. Tell me a fun fact about you. Wendy?
A fun fact, and I will tie it into if I was not doing real estate, I would probably be a chef. Cooking resonates with me. All of my life throughout my entire family, they aunts, uncles, everyone. And it's a comfort zone for me. Just like it's customer service, kind of like selling real estate. But it really is a comfort place for me to cook.
Love food. It just really, really kind of connects us all.
Yes.
Love that. Gonna have to have me over for Jamar, how about you?
Well, I know I touched on this last time we got together on this platform, but I think it's still one of the most interesting facts and surprises a lot of people. I'll stay on the theme that Wendy had. If I wasn't doing real estate, I would be leading my clothing line that I still to this day own, Underground Music and Fashion. Shout out to Matt Myers and James Houston, my partners who started that back very young. But I would be doing that. I love fashion. I love design. I know if you've ever seen any of our DIT shirts, that's kind of me inspired by the background. So I would be doing that.
Oh, love it. Can't wait. So we're going to put your design company on the information so people can access it. How about you, Chris?
So Wendy, I'm going to reach out to you for a good recipe. Jamal, listen, I'm ready for my new wardrobe. So I'm going to reach out, but I'm going to take it in a different direction. So if I wasn't doing real estate, I'd probably, because this is something that has been a passion of mine since I was young, I always wanted to be a professional dancer, except for the fact that I have grown too tall and my body doesn't allow me to do the things that I used to do. But I get lost in music. It was nothing for me. I'm going to take you back when I was younger, to go into a club and find a speaker to get on top of and just lose myself in the music. So I absolutely love music and I love dancing. So I'm probably not going to be able to live that down here now that I've disclosed that for the world. But yeah, I still love to do it. I'm pretty good at it, but I don't do it as much as I used to. And that was my happy place.
Well, Chris, we're definitely going to have to do I love music, as y'all know, and love to dance. So definitely going to have to join you there. So thank you. Thank you so much for all of your participation. It's so clear to see how your leadership is really the secret sauce to your company's success, and that you have also recognized that alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And I love that quote. And that concludes another insightful episode of Diversity Matters, highlighting your exceptional diversity champions. A special thanks to you, Jamar, Chris, and Wendy, for taking the time to share the great work that you're doing within your companies with all of us so that we can also try to duplicate them. A big thank you to all of you for being part of the Diversity Matters journey out there in our audience, and all the councils that really did the work. And I want to make sure that if you want to catch up to previous episodes, stay tuned for future ones. Be sure to log on to diversitymattersseries.com. You can find all of our episodes archived there. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. So join me next month on February 28th, where we're going to connect with another great group of leaders And remember, your support is what fuels our mission, and together we can continue to foster a more inclusive world. Until next time, remember, diversity matters. Bye-bye, everyone.
Lisa?
Thank you,
Thank you so
Teresa.
much. Bye-bye.